we welcome you into a Monday afternoon program. Thanks for being part of it. Always brought to you by our friends at The Best Bet. Man, I tell you what, if you want to have some fun, 3 great locations, you know that by now. St. Augustine's the newest one. That thing's rocking down there right off of I-95. The Best Bet location in Orange Park is on 17. And, of course, the Best Bet Jacksonville location, that big, beautiful location. Such a clean, fun family place. You're going to love it. Head in there to the Best Bet on Monument Road. Frangie and Carlyon, La Selva with you. Wasn't a great weekend for the Jags or the Seminoles. I am happy about this. Gators on a 2-game winning streak. Yes, I'm counting the off date. Okay, just so
Did they get the off
Yeah,
day?
I'm counting.
Did they win that one?
Yeah, I'm counting it as a win. Okay,
yeah.
And don't try and take it from me.
Napier was kind of strutting to the podium today with some confidence.
I'm counting it as a win, so that's all I got.
Yeah.
All right, all kind of stuff to get to today on the program. I do want to thank you for being part of it. Bucky Brooks joins us. He was with me and our broadcast team over the course of the weekend. He's got a great feel for football, and he's the guy that's in the locker room with the Jags. Talks to Doug after the game, and so he's got a good feel for it, so he'll talk Jaguars football with us. All kind of fun stuff to do. How about the baseball drama, by the way? Are you following this baseball drama?
Yeah, the Braves are collapsing.
But how about the game? I mean, JJ, you've been following, obviously?
Right? Yeah, I turned it off after Lindor just hit a 2-run home run to crush my hopes and dreams. So the Braves are up 3-0 the entire game. Schwellenbach had a perfect outing. And then inexplicably, with their 2 best relievers, they give up 6 runs in the 8th just to score 4 runs in the bottom half to take the lead, just to give up a 2-run home run. Now the Mets have the lead, and I stopped watching.
Okay, well, the Braves
so I'm assuming we lost.
The Braves are batting in the bottom
It's
of
still
9.
going.
The Braves are batting down a run.
Yeah, I know.
1
that.
gone in the bottom of 9 is the Braves bat. Here's a good thing. I just heard this, JJ. There's another game after this one. I don't know if you heard that or not.
I don't know how they're supposed to come back after blowing a huge, basically a playoff berth twice in 2 innings, and now you have to go back out there in 40 minutes.
Yeah, they do. But right now, it's not over yet. They're down a run, bottom of 9. Okay.
Sale will be on the mound, fortunately.
Right.
And I heard that the Mets will not be doing a champagne celebration, which really pisses me off. We need these guys half drunk for this game.
Yeah, it explained, by the way. So the Mets are in. Okay?
If they win today.
If the Mets hold on.
And win this game.
And win this game. They're up a run. The Mets are in. Okay. So you knew the story all along. If they split, if the Mets and Braves split, the D-backs are out. Yeah, and then but if either of them sweep, then they're so if either get swept, then they're out. So it was kind of an interesting situation. Everyone said, hey, let's just agree to split. And sorry, D-backs, you're out. But anyway, so it's the bottom of the 9th. We'll continue to update you. 1 gone is the Braves who desperately try to come back in a crazy, wild game today in Atlanta. So we'll certainly talk more about that. Obviously, the Jaguars lose. Boy, that was gut-wrenching. We'll talk all about that today. That'll be our lead story. We'll talk a little bit about just a crazy Georgia-Alabama game. Do you watch all that?
Oh, yeah. It was unbelievable.
So Bucky and I are having a steak at Del Frisco in the bar watching the first half. It's 30-7. I said, I'm going to bed. So we left, and I was done. Went up to the room. I had the iPad, so I'm watching Florida State on the iPad, and I'm watching Georgia-Alabama, and I'm really paying more attention to FSU until I look up and go, that game's getting close. And I'll be darned if Georgia doesn't take the lead on a miraculous play, only to give up a miraculous play. But can I ask you a Gator question?
Sure.
If Ryan Williams, who's I think 14, gets to play right away at Alabama, why do Aiden Mizell and Tank and all those guys have to wait 13 years to get on the field at Florida because the other guys are older? Will you explain that to me?
Well, I'm going to go with they're not Ryan Williams.
Okay.
I'm going to start it there.
Okay.
Here.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. But what a player.
A freaking player.
For 17.
A player.
He's got probably the loosest hips from an agility standpoint of maybe any receiver that I've certainly at that age.
And he's so polished for a kid.
Yeah, and his vision is incredible as well. I mean, just unbelievable player. And you may hear that highlight later for the Take Flight moment of the week.
Well, I hope we do. So, but anyway, we got a lot of things to talk about today on the program. But the Jags lose. Obviously, that's our lead story. We'll talk about it most of the day today. It was a hard game to watch, a hard game to call, a hard game for you to watch because you felt like, much like the Dolphins game, not exactly like it, but very similar. You're on the road. You're playing a team that had double-digit wins in as the playoff a year ago. with a young quarterback that's kind of all the rage, and you really have the game in your grasp. Against the Dolphins, Travis Etienne fumbles from the 2, or you win the game. You go up 24-7 and win the game. Against the Texans, they don't get it in from the 1, and if they do, it's 2 possessions. I think you win the game. So the similarities of those 2 games, the inability to finish those games, it's uncanny. Now, there's other problems. We'll certainly talk about the missed opportunities. I thought your column, by the way, was very good.
Thank you.
Very good and on it. And for people who haven't read it, go to Hays's his feed. You can find it. It's very good. And I thought dead on. And I don't worry as much about Trevor moving forward because I think Trevor will get it. I think he'll start hitting those throws. I said this last week. The league is full of guys like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and that it took a few years, but then the light went on, and Trevor's ahead of where those guys all were when they came into the league. But he missed some big throws. And I'll get to all that in a minute, or as the show goes on. But the larger point is, how do you pick up the pieces when you really did have high expectations? You had reason to have high expectations. It was a very good offseason in terms of extending players that mattered, extending your star players, adding free agents that you thought would matter, having a very good first-round draft pick that nobody will debate. And you look up and blink, and a month later, you're one of only 2 teams that are winless. Of the 32 teams, you're one of only 2 that are winless in the league. And if the Titans win tonight, you will be the only win. As September comes to a close, you will be the only winless team in the league. How did that happen? I look, and I'll say that this is my 11th year calling these games. For the first 19 years, I didn't call the games, but I covered a great deal of them on the road. I covered all the home games. I've known this team, like you have and many have that are listening now, since the day they launched in 95. Because I've been around for all 30 years, and the play-by-play voice for the last 11, I've seen some bad Jaguars teams. I've seen some bad teams. I never felt this was one of them. I felt
it shouldn't be one of them.
Yeah, I felt this is a talented team. Maybe I might have overhyped it a little in my mind. I've gone back and looked at that 1,000 times. They might not have been quite as good as where I thought they were. But I said 1,000 times in assessing what happened last year, Hays, they were way more the 8-3 team than the 1-5 team. And you look up and they're 0-4. And I can't put a finger on it. I don't think the players are playing all that badly. I don't think they're poorly coached. I don't think there's one thing I can say, well, there's your problem. Yet they're 0-4, and you are what your record says you are. Bill Parcells said it, and he's right. I am mystified that that's where this football team is. As God is my witness, I can tell you I'm as surprised at this as any Jaguar team start in the 30 years they've had a team.
Well, no one's hot. You know, that's been a problem for 4 games. No one has just been red hot that maybe could help bail you out or make that play late. Everybody's cold, including the franchise quarterback. I think, and obviously I've been very critical of Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, but yesterday, to me, it was all about Trevor Lawrence and the misses. I mean, you lose a game by 4 points, and his 2 misses cost you 10 points. And again, it's not like he's been playing great. He hasn't been playing all that great, but I thought yesterday it really hit a new low for Trevor in terms of just, you've got to hit Christian Kirk on that. You've got to hit Christian Kirk on that. That is a walk-in touchdown from 59 yards out. The 28-yarder to Brian Thomas has got to be hit. Look, I understand these guys aren't robots. Quarterbacks are human beings, just like anybody else. But when you're the leader of a struggling team, when your team is 0-3, I think good quarterbacks say to themselves on the morning of that game, this isn't the day for me to have a bad day. It can't happen today. And not only was it a bad day for Trevor Lawrence, I think he was the biggest reason why they lost the game. I mean, yes, we can get into, obviously, I think the offense is obsolete. I think it's a bad offense. It's a bad system. Defensively, I thought they gutted it out, playing undermanned. I thought they played well enough to win. particularly in that third quarter when they kept getting Houston off the field. So I think defensively they could have 3 wins, based on how the defense is played. But the offense is just ghastly. I mean, it's just, and everybody's to blame. The tackles were better yesterday. That's encouraging. Their running game is there, but it just doesn't matter because their passing game is so woeful right now. They're 28th in this league in passing yards per play. They're 30th on third down, converting 25% of the time. They're awful in the red zone. They're awful in goal to go. They're awful in time of possession, and they're tied for 30th in the league in points per game at 15. There's nothing about them offensively that is even satisfactory right now, and I don't think it can be fixed. I don't think they have the right pieces to fix it, and it's just a matter of when are we going to transition this to the next phase of Jaguars football. And, who knows when that'll be. But it's just sad because this is a bad division. That's what I've learned through these 4. Obviously, Indianapolis got a nice win over Pittsburgh yesterday, but they're 2-2. I don't look at the Colts as a real contender. We'll see what they do on Sunday. Houston tried to give this game away.
12 penalties.
Yeah, and they gift you a touchdown on the punt return. Yeah. So, I mean, you get a gift touchdown. They have 12 penalties for 93 yards. I mean, it was like every third play, there was a Houston penalty. And you can't they're trying to hand it to you on a silver platter. A victory that gets you back in contention at 1-3. The AFC champion is going to be 9-8 or worse. That's through 4 weeks, unless one of these teams.
AFC South champion.
The AFC South champion, thank you, is going to be 9-8 or worse. Because, I mean, again, look at Houston's 3-1. But they've got a litany of issues themselves. So it's just so disappointing because yesterday was a day that you could have gotten back into it. You could have felt some redemption for the coaching staff and the players, and it was all lost because a quarterback that you've handed $200 million in guaranteed money to cannot hit basic passes that have got to be hit in the NFL.
So we'll talk a little bit about what happened in that game. I'll give you some other thoughts I have. Bucky Brooks checks in to do the same thing at 5 o'clock. We'll talk about why they lost and some of the details. Florida State, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything quite like this. I really haven't. I've never seen anything quite like this. By the way, the Braves have gone final now. The Mets beat them 8-7. So the Mets are in, and now the Mets and the Braves play again, and the Braves try to get in. So we'll see what winds up happening there. The Braves win, they're in. The D-backs are out. If the Braves lose, which means the Mets will have swept them, then the D-backs are in. We'll talk about that as we go on today. The Florida State thing is incomprehensible. They were 13-1 last year, 13-0 in the regular season, and the one game they lost, they got blasted, but they lost none of their players played. I did not think this team would look like the team that lost to Georgia. Hays, if they played Georgia tomorrow, they'd lose 63-3 again.
Without a doubt.
I didn't sense that. I mean, they are, and I now agree with you. I would pick Florida to beat them right now. I don't think Florida's very good. I don't think Florida's going to win 1 or 2 more games.
They're not good.
But I would pick them. I mean, what's happened watching Florida State the other day, so I'll get to the Noles coming up as well. The great Bama-Georgia game, Florida and the UCF, a game that suddenly is a gigantic game. Whoever thought when Spurrier was prowling the sidelines and Werfel was throwing post corners to Hilliard and Anthony, that all of a sudden Florida UCF would be a gigantic game. But think, where's the world gone? So we'll certainly talk about that. We got a lot of stuff to get to. But let's take a break. When we come back, let's start with some Jaguar football. I'll give you my thoughts on the game, the team, where they're headed, why they're there. We'll do the best we can to talk about it. Let's talk Jaguars football after this on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show
From the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's the ultimate tailgate.
You could win a weekly tailgate combo pack from Southern Steer Butcher, valued at $100. And monthly winners get a Corona tailgate tent with a cooler, chair, and collectible football. Enter at 1010XL.com.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need, He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Hello, I'm Jerry Holland, Duval County Supervisor of Elections. Are you ready for the presidential election? The clock is ticking. In Florida, you must register to vote 29 days before an election, which is Monday, October 7th. Please check your voter information before voting. If you've moved, visit us at northfloridavotes.com and update your address. Remember also, avoid the long lines on Election Day and vote early. Check your sample ballot for the nearest location. We'll see you at the polls.
When a plumbing or septic emergency happens, you want to have your ducks in a row with a company you can trust. Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is the #1 company on the First Coast. Check out our reviews online, duckduckrooter.com.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
A tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beat your price. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beat your price.
Hacker here, and the celebration is getting closer than I expected. On my countdown to 100 pounds. I thought it would take me a lot longer, but I'm already at 98 pounds gone. 4.5 pounds down last week alone. Next week should be epic as I do what I never thought could be done just 6 months ago. Me losing 100 pounds. What's your Awaken 180 goal? Is it hitting a number? Is it losing weight without a life of medications? Or is it just feeling better? Whatever your goal is, bring it to Awaken 180 and ask them how fast you will reach it. But Hacker, I've tried other programs and diets before. Why will Awaken 180 work? It's simple, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. Remember, when I hit that 100-pound mark, we're going to celebrate. I'll keep you updated again next week, but I have a hunch I'll be crossing that 100-pound threshold. In the meantime, pick up the phone and make your own 180. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet with such an easy app to work off of, and now a brand new kind of parlay, the Flex Parlay. You don't have to hit every single bet to get paid. With a Flex Parlay, you choose your payout amounts and go for a bigger payday. Make football season even more fun. HardRock.bet has it all. Everything in the game. TDs, passing yards, total points, who wins, and so much more. It's all at HardRock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Van Thong, senior football, soccer, and track and field athlete at Ed White High. As Mr. Senior Ed White High, Van participated in ROTC and the Student Government Association.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
The Jaguars have a lot of concerns. Welcome back to a Best Bet Monday here on the program. Thanks to our friends at the Best Bet, St. Augustine, Jacksonville, and Orange Park. But I said this before, and I do believe this. I think you and I talked about what's the biggest concern of the football team. And I think we talked about that. It might have even been before the season started. And I'm not saying it just because of what happened in the game. The biggest concern is they've got to figure out third and short and fourth and short. If they could have figured out third and short, fourth and short last year, they score in Nashville. Remember when Trevor tried to dive over the top? Mm-hmm. Instead, they score from the 1-yard line. They beat the Titans. They're now a two-time defending AFC South champion. They win the title back-to-back years, and they're all the rage. They could not do it, so they lost. This year, they ran the sweep to ETN against Miami when everything started getting away from them on fourth down, and they lost yards because Cam Robinson whiffed his guy. I will tell you, watching the game, calling the game, when Tank Bigsby got tackled at the 4 or run out of bounds, he got hit and he was kind of dancing and stumbling a little bit. When he didn't score, I worried. When he didn't score, because I worried would they be able to find a way, and I hoped like heck they threw it. They ran it. And by the way, I'm not of the opinion that they should have gone to another running back because Bigsby ran 50 yards. You're an NFL player. You're in shape to run 50. I mean, I've watched football my whole life. You can run 50 yards and stay in the game. So he's your best downhill runner. I would not have gone and gotten Travis Etienne or Dearness Johnson, good backs, but not the between the tackles runner he is, just because they were red. I wouldn't have done that. It's not like he had carried the ball 34 times in the game. So I don't buy that. So they run it inside, and Brandon Sheriff got blown up, and so their guards got blown up, and at that point I thought to myself, if they lose this game, if they don't get it in, and I worried they wouldn't, and they didn't, and we all kind of knew when the Texans took over at the 1-yard line, that could spell trouble. The momentum of the game, the here we go again. Sports is full of here we go again. Sports is full of, oh my goodness, are we going to do this again? We've all watched it in sports. If you're baseball and your closer's blown 3 or 4 saves, JJ, when he comes in, you're worrying, here we go again, right?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
I mean, the here we go again is in the mindset of if you're a golfer and you've 3-putted 2-3 holes in a row, and then you land one on the green, but it's 35 feet away, you're already thinking 3-putt because it's just happened. So you're thinking, oh my God, they're going 99 yards, and that is your concern. Are they going to go 99 yards? If you cannot make 3rd and a yard and 4th and a yard, and that's what they haven't been able to solve. Play calling and press and this and that. If they could have solved 3rd and a yard, 4th and a yard, then the fact that Etienne fumbled at the 2 wouldn't have mattered because they had other chances. Then the fact that Bigsby stumbled out of bounds at the 4 wouldn't have mattered because they'd have gotten it in. The inability to make 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, regardless of who you blame that on, play calling, running backs, the interior of the offensive line, which is what I think the concern is. If you can't make 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, it's going to be really hard. They have the Titans and the Jags are the only 2 teams that are winless. If the Titans win tonight, the Jags will be the only winless team in the NFL. Yet it's bizarre, and I know this is what's frustrating for fans, for them, how close they are to having some of those wins. It's one of the strangest seasons I have seen. To your point about Trevor, you are right. Trevor's got to hit those throws. This is the NFL. We've almost gotten to where now a wide receiver running wide open 10 yards behind the defense or 7 yards behind the defense is almost like a layup now. And it's almost like a field goal. Back in the day, a 40-yard field goal, you didn't know if he'd make it or not. Now a 40-yard field goal is a layup.
Right. And this isn't a dome.
Yeah, right. There's no weather concerns. You've got to hit those guys. He missed both throws. I heard Doug in his presser today made a good point. You get hyped up. He talked about he made the analogy of Scotty Scheffler, who went down a club because his adrenaline make him hit it further, and he thinks that because Trevor's not missing short very often. He's missing long, and so underthrow it. But Trevor's got to hit those throws. There's no denying the fact that Trevor's missed some throws. And that wasn't the first time. Trevor's not played well. Is part of that play calling, is part of that press. You could talk about that forever. But Trevor's not played well. And that's a major, major problem, and you wrote the column about it. But, Hays, if you cannot make 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1, I'm not saying that should be a gimme, but you should be able to line up, put an extra defensive tackle at fullback.
Absolutely. Be imaginative.
But you should be able to somehow, some way. I'm not saying make it look, if you don't have the tush push or Tom Brady doing quarterback sneaks, you might not be able to make it every time. But there's no NFL team that should not be able to make it any of the times.
Correct. You should make that 85% of the time.
Yeah, and you certainly,
and they make it like 15%.
Correct. And so to me, of all the areas of concern of this football team, from the middle of last year on till now, the major concern is the inability to make 3rd and 1 and 4th one. And for me, I think it's more personnel than it is play calling. I don't think you have to be imaginative at 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. Now, they need to find a way to be more imaginative because conventional stuff isn't working.
And let me clarify, because when you say imaginative, sometimes people immediately think, oh, that's
Exotic.
like we're going to do some cool throw. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about that. You can be imaginative with
Right.
your violence.
I agree.
And that's
I
what
agree.
they need.
Well
They need to be imaginative with their violence.
Yeah, take Jeremiah Ledbetter.
Right.
And make him your fullback. You know, take a 320-pound guy, take Devon Hamilton and line him up in front of you. Somehow, so to me, the play calling is play calling. I haven't watched one game yet and said, man, that play calling looks stale. Man, they've called some plays that I've thought I wouldn't have called that play at that moment. But I haven't walked away from a game and said, wow, that was a real play calling thing. I have done it with watching the Gators, by the way, but I have not done that because NFL teams run similar offenses. But the inability to convert 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, short yardage situations, I think has been the dagger for this football team from the middle of last season on, and it's extended to this season.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, it's been a consistent issue. And again, I think everybody deserves blame for it. And it hasn't just been one thing. To your point, I mean, sometimes it's the tackles, sometimes it's the guards, sometimes it's the skill guys. Maybe sometimes it's certainly a play call. It's just the problem is, how are you going to fix it? I mean, you've had ample opportunity to fix it, and it's not getting fixed. And that is, I think, it's almost like, where does it go from here? Because it's hard for me to see any kind of path with how it is now. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they roll off 6 straight wins and get back in this. And I certainly think they have the talent to do that. But for whatever reason, it is just not syncing up. For whatever reason. And I don't think it's going to. I mean, yes, the schedule lightens up, but I mean, it just seems like there is this just constant black cloud over their sideline where they're all just waiting for what's the next catastrophe that's going to ruin our day. And really, they're the only, to be honest, I haven't seen all the teams this year, but I've seen most of the league by this point. They're really the only one that's like that. Now, I haven't seen the Carolina Panthers and the Raiders, and to your point, they've at least won games. But it really is almost a phenomenon just to this current Jaguar outfit. It just because there's teams like they're so much more talented than 7 or 8 of the teams in this league.
No question.
I mean, and so, but it's just like I can't explain it. It's like there is this phenomenon where they just have this mental block of what bad thing is going to happen next, and then when the bad thing happens, they just cannot recover from it.
Well, and when the 2 areas, and this is my concern, the 2 areas where they're not more talented than the other than 7 or 8 teams, in my opinion, are those 2 lines. That's what concerns, particularly the interior of the lines. You can make the argument that Cam Robinson and Anton Harrison, when playing well, are good players. Certainly, Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker had big years last year. But I worry about the defensive tackles. I worry about guard, center, guard. Those are the areas I'm not sure, and I think that's affected Trevor's play. Not yesterday. They protected you. Yesterday he had clean pockets, so yesterday they protected. But I worry about. I think that's affected him some. I think that's affected 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. I think it's affected them getting off the field defensively some. The shame of yesterday is, by the way, is Ventrell Miller a baller or what?
Yeah, he looked good.
What a terrific player.
Absolutely, that was a bright spot.
He is their fastest linebacker, and I wouldn't take him off the field. From now on, he would play ahead of Devin Lloyd for me. He just would. It's not like Devin Lloyd's a 5-year veteran that has all this experience that Ventrell doesn't have. They're both young players. He would play ahead of Devin Lloyd. I thought Monteric Brown played a really good game. I mean, Monteric Brown's become a pretty good player. You know, they got off the first 5 possessions of the second half. They forced a punt, not a field goal, they forced punts. They were really good. If the offense had just helped a little, if the offense had just helped them a little bit, one more touchdown, ball game. And so, but that's what I think the big Achilles heel is for the football. There's other areas we'll talk about it. You talked about Trevor, but here's what I think they need to do, because we're going to get to some other stuff today too. Then we'll go back to the Jags when Bucky joins us. Hays, what their goal needs to be now. This is going to be cliche as heck. They need to just try and win a game. Forget about it. And I'm the guiltiest of the guilty. Well, if they win this, then they win that, then they're 2-3. They get to London 2-3. They'll be 4-3. They do this. They got this coming up. You know what they need to worry about now? Win a game. Whatever it takes, find a way to beat the Colts. And by the way, I think I'd rather play Anthony Richardson than Joe Flacco.
You would.
And so find a way to beat somehow on Throwback Day when they're wearing the throwback uniforms and Tom Coughlin's going to go into the Pride and it's your first home game in a while. Find a way to win the game. Don't worry about the next week. Don't worry about the trip to London. Don't worry about Patriots and the Bears and the Packers and the Vikings and whoever else is on the schedule. Find a way to win. They have win one game. Just one game. The coaches say our goal is to go 1-0. Well, that's a terrible cliche. It's a great cliche because Matthew Driscoll, my buddy, came out, his first one I've ever say it. But right now, all that matters is find a way to win. Don't worry about the next game. Don't worry about play calling. Don't worry about who's playing well. Don't worry about substitutes. Find a way to win. That's the goal. Somehow win a game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll give you something that's gonna make people's eyes roll, but that's fine. They need to go 9-4 in their remaining games. How do you do that? It does start with beating the Colts on Sunday. You're going to need to go 4-1 in your remaining 5 divisional games. You're going to need to beat Chicago, New England, and Vegas. You're going to need to go 3-0 in those matchups. And then between Green Bay, Philly, Minnesota, Detroit, and the Jets, out of those 5 games, you've got to figure out a way to win 2 of them. You've got to go 2-3. So, again, I think in the locker room, you can still sell the message of, yes, we're 0-4, and that no team has done it since 92 in terms of making the postseason. But we saw yesterday, they gave us that game. We just didn't take it. We're not going to have to win 10 games to win this division. If we can get to 9, that we've got a chance here. But to your point, it all starts with that first step. Once they get the first win, who knows where that could lead? They could get hot. Who knows what that could do for their confidence? Because I do think a big part of this is mental with them. But they've got to get the first one. And if they can do it, then you look at your path and you look at the other 3 teams in your division and you say, look, if you win the division at 9-8, no one's going to apologize. It's not going to be an asterisk, but I'm telling you, no one in this division is winning 10 games.
It sure feels that way. I hadn't thought about that till you said it today, but it sure doesn't feel like there's a dominant team. If the Texans are the best team in the division, I thought the Texans were just okay. I thought they were lousy. I thought the Jags outplayed the Texans and probably should have won the game. So we'll talk. More Jaguar talk coming up when Bucky Brooks joins us at the top of the hour. Let's talk some college football. A little bit about Alabama, Georgia, but I want to focus on the Noles. 1-4, bad loss at SMU. Let's talk Florida State football after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Chevy trucks have what you need to get things done, like a brand new Silverado 1500. This month, you can save up to $10,000 off a new Silverado, or well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 1.9% financing and no payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickup. Now, with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $2,250 in trade assistance. You want an even better deal? Ask about demo models for deeper discounts. Shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership conveniently located at Park Street in Castle. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Now, it's time to showcase the Crown Royals Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally.
Cam Little was huge for the Teal and Black on the road in Houston. The young kicker was perfect for Jacksonville on both his field goal tries and his extra point attempts. Little's nickname should be ATM because he's money whenever Jacksonville needs it. Cam Little is your Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Post-Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff. Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Establishing a regular sleeping pattern is crucial for your well-being. This includes going to bed at roughly the same time every night and waking up around the same time every morning. You may even consider turning off all electronic devices an hour before bedtime. Ever wonder why you can't fall asleep after staring at your phone right before bed? Studies show that the light from your phone actually decreases melatonin production, therefore causing disruptions to your sleep throughout the night. Get some rest before the big game. Go Jags.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. By the looks of it, there were some huge hits betting on MyBookie this weekend. If you didn't make the right plays, you have Monday Night Football tonight to get right. The Titans travel to Miami to play the Dolphins. This is basically a pick'em game, so who do you think is going to win? You know, here at 1010XL, we don't bet on the Titans. We're taking the Dolphins all day, hoping their defense can cause major problems for a turnover-happy Will Levis. And if you think that hits, why not do a parlay and bet the over-under total 36.5? $100 bet pays $260. MyBookie is still running the double deposit bonus. You need to get started now. Use my promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. You heard that right. Double your money with 1010XL before you even place a bet. Sign up, use promo code 1010XL to claim your double deposit bonus. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie.
He'll help you find the fish.
Bite's gonna pick up pretty soon.
Captain Kevin and the Wing Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Yeah!
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Veterans Wholesale Cabinets.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Dr. Michael Iorio, internal medicine physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
One of the positives for the Jaguars' 24-20 loss yesterday was the run game, with Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby leading the Jaguars to 6.6 yards per carry. Here's running back Travis Etienne on how he wants his teammates to keep a positive mentality as they prove they're showing that this is an offense capable of having a run game that can be a problem for opposing defenses.
And we just got to keep having that mentality, you know. We can't go in the game defeated. We just got to keep playing for each other, love up on each other, and just finish in the red zone. I feel like everyone sees it's just, we're just one play away. You know, it's just the little things, the little details. And if we just finish in the red zone and come away with points, it's a different story.
I'm Max Fink here with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Doors, please. Time now for the Sky Life Elite Take Flight Moment of the Week. Sky Life Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
He's got to have it right now. And they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Ryan Williams, still spinning free. Touchdown Alabama, they answer in one play. 75 yards for the 17-year-old. Are you kidding us?
That was Chris Fowler. Great call. And what a broadcast. What a game. Jalen Milroe, 75-yard touchdown to Ryan Williams with 2:18 to play in Alabama's 41-34 thriller. Big lead. Lost the big lead. And then they get it back, Milroe to Williams, in a play that will live in Tuscaloosa for a long, long time. That is our Take Flight moment of the week. Again, give our friends at Sky Life Elite a call, 490-9332. You can find them also at flyskylife.com. That is North Florida's premier private air charter.
All right, and you know what? Now's the time of year to sign them up to go to all these ball games for sure. And I mean, that's for sure. Quick thought about Georgia, Alabama. That game is why the 12-game playoff is so critical. Don't tell me it's going to ruin your regular season. Did you see the drama and urgency in that game? The crowd.
I loved it.
It was that game.
How could you not love it?
People say it ruins the regular season. Well, let me tell you what. For those that missed it, that was a regular season game. It had as much drama, excitement, noise, pageantry, festiveness as any regular season game ever, and we have a 12-game playoff. So that whole thing about ruining the regular season is off.
You might get this game 3 times.
Correct. And what it does do, it makes the regular season not less enjoyable, not less exciting, but less tragic. It shouldn't have been tragic. You shouldn't have had a situation where we have this great team that slips up one time and then is out. It shouldn't be that way. I mean, I can tell you the Miami team of 2001 might be the greatest team of all time. They were really. If you took a poll of greatest teams of all time,
they'd get my vote.
They'd get most votes. Okay, but you know what? I would have loved the 2001 Gators to get a crack at them, because I thought the Gators, who were clearly the second best team in the nation, messed up one time at the end of the year against Tennessee, and that cost them. And I'm thinking if you, that mess up,
Florida would have been the 5 seed that year.
Florida, and would have played Miami for the title. I promise you, nobody was. Tennessee wasn't getting them again, and nobody was getting them. So, and I said as a Gator fan, how many times FSU fans feel that way? FSU fans, how many titles would the Noles have won under Bowden?
6 or 7.
If they could have gotten into a tournament, doggone right they would have. So believe me, that game showed why the tournament's so important. Both those teams will be in it. Both those teams are going to get deep, and both those teams should. That's my opinion. Now listen, Georgia's got to play Tennessee and Texas. So it's not. I mean, Georgia's got their work cut out for them. I get it, but both those teams shouldn't be. Point is, the loser of that game shouldn't be eliminated, and now they're not. So that's a good thing.
Without a doubt. It was one of the best college football games I've ever watched.
I want to get to the Noles. I watched Florida State. I had Florida State on the iPad. We came back to the. I came back to the room, and I had Florida State on my iPad, and the Alabama Georgia, and so. Okay, I was tired. It was a long day. It was a long travel day. We'd gone to dinner. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. So I get my. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, I got 2 blowouts. So I'm going to watch, but I might get to sleep early. Georgia's blowing them out. I mean, Alabama's blowing out Georgia. SMU's blowing out FSU. So I got FSU on the iPad and Georgia on the TV, and I'm laying down and I'm kind of half awake. All of a sudden, Georgia starts coming back. So now I'm watching that game more. So I'm not watching the FSU game as much. But every time I turned over FSU, it was amazing how much better SMU was than the Noles. On every play I watched, how much better the SMU football team was than the Noles. I now realize how mediocre Georgia Tech is, and they beat the Noles. Now, Boston College had to play without their quarterback, but almost lost to Western Kentucky. Now, they came back and beat them, and in fairness, they didn't have their quarterback, but they almost lost to Western Kentucky, and they beat the Noles. How Cal lost to them, how Cal didn't win that game, because they outplayed them. Florida State was very good in the red zone. Florida State is inexplicably gone from 13-0 or 13-1 to, Hays, I don't know that they're going to win 3 games. I mean, they're at Miami and at Notre Dame. Those are losses. They're at undefeated Duke on a Friday night. I haven't seen one snap from Duke. I have no idea what they've got. But Manny Diaz is there. You don't think he wants to beat the Noles? He went there, by the way, okay? So you're at, on a Friday night, undefeated Duke. You're at Miami, who might win the whole damn thing. You're at Notre Dame, who's pretty damn good. That's your 7th loss.
You're a 15-point dog at home to Clemson.
You're a 15-point home dog. You're going to lose that one. I mean, they might not get to a fourth win. And so how did that happen? And
Florida, if that's Billy Napier's last game, do not be surprised if Florida goes to Tallahassee and beats Florida State.
At worst, it's a toss-up. Okay, so and I know everyone's saying it shows you live by the portal, die by the portal. That narrative's correct. I think we all have learned that this is an indictment. It's not necessarily an indictment of Norvell. It is an indictment of his plan. And his plan was the right plan. He inherited something that was so broken from Willie Taggart, so broken that he had to find a way to win earlier. He wasn't going to keep the job very long. So he found a way with the portal. Give him credit. He found a magical quarterback in Jordan Travis.
Who's obviously the greatest college football player of all time.
Yeah, that. And they had some really good players that the Jared Verses of the world and the Braden Fisks of the world. And
Keon Coleman
Johnny
made
Wilson,
a couple
Keon
big plays
Coleman.
last night in a loss in Buffalo.
Yeah, they had really good players.
Yeah.
So none of whom started their careers at FSU. Okay, I mean, the Raheem Bell, the tight end, they had a lot of good players. But if I'm them, right now, Brock Glenn plays the rest of the season unless Luke Kromenhoek goes in. And I'm not sure either one of them are very good. Luke may be very good in time. Brock's just okay. Right now, you have to send the message. They're going to lose these games. Okay? Doesn't matter who's playing. They're probably losing the rest of these games, or mostly. They're going to win a few here or there. I mean, North Carolina didn't look
They
very
play
good.
Charleston Southern.
They'll beat Charleston. But the point is they're not winning very many games. I would almost make an announcement. We're going young. We're playing all our young guys. We are going to recruit the high schools like never before. We are going to go get every high school player we can. We'll get some portal guys. But you think of us as Portal U. I've now got to send the message that I'm not Portal U. Somehow, some way. And I'm not smart enough to know how you do that. But you've got to send the message now louder than ever that you're not Portal U. That was an embarrassment. That was SMU. SMU's okay. They're not bad. And I read last year, the good coach. I like him. I think he's gonna wind up at a big Power 4 at some point. But that was SMU. That was what is Miami going to do to those guys in Miami?
It honestly, it could be like 58-0.
I mean, Miami.
If Cristobal wants it to be.
Miami's going to. I mean, say Cam Ward stays healthy and whatnot. Miami's
Sure,
going to roll. JJ, what's the score of that game going to be?
Well, a couple years ago during COVID, it was like this. FSU was really down, and it was like 45-7 or 14. So I don't think it'll be
this
that
Miami
bad,
team is better
but-
than that Miami team.
Oh, absolutely.
And
But
this FSU team is probably worse.
It's
than
probably
that.
or certainly on par.
Yeah. I
still think they're going to get up for that.
Yeah, and they and rivalry games.
It won't matter.
Well, let me tell you what happens.
I think Miami will win by at least 3 touchdowns.
Well, let me tell you what happens on rivalry games. Okay, let me tell you.
2 minimum.
Rivalry games tend to be closer than they ordinarily would have been if the teams are close at all. Okay, but rivalry games, if one team's a lot better, are now bigger blowouts.
And
trust me, I saw this in Florida, Georgia, both ways.
Right.
Florida, Georgia, when Spurrier was there, you think, well, rivalry game makes it closer. Actually, the blowouts are bigger,
right?
Because Florida wants to hang one on them.
And if you just
and now Georgia the other way around. Go ahead.
transferred there. Like, what do you care about the Miami-Florida State rivalry? You know, like you were just an Alabama cornerback 6 months ago.
Well,
they're not.
That's exactly right. In fact, that's the thesis statement. You don't know what it means to wear that garnet and gold uniform. I've always said this. I'm not a Florida State guy. I'm a Florida guy, but I've always said this. When Florida State in their heyday, they'd have the warm-ups. And then they would line up across the field. I'm sure it's called something. And they'd all take their helmets. Do you remember this? Have you covered games there? You have, right? Mm-hmm. They'd put that face mask in their hand and they'd walk to that athletic center right before they run back in. It was freaky. You weren't beating them. When they lined up all the way across the field and would walk to that athletic center with the helmets up, place going crazy. It was probably 10 minminutes before kick, 15 minutes before kick. You weren't beating them. You might as well leave.
Right.
You weren't beating them when they did that.
They've saved a lot of money this year on the tomahawks for the helmets.
Yeah,
because I've noticed there's like no
helmet
tomahawks.
stickers, yeah.
There's no tomahawk stickers on anyone's helmet this year.
There's not.
So they're going to have a surplus in Tallahassee.
That's an NIL thing. Now it goes to NIL
That's
money.
right.
So,
there you go.
But I'm telling you, when FSU would do that, you weren't beating them when they were in their heyday. But to JJ's point, that was very funny. To JJ's point. Nobody knows what that means now. That kid that got there as a freshman and redshirted because he wasn't beating out Derek Brooks or Warwick Dunn. That kid gets there when he's 22 after he's been at Akron for 3 years, or Alabama, Georgia,
and that's
wherever.
what made last year's club so special is Jordan Travis bought into being a Knoll. Yes. Jared Verse bought into being a Knoll, and it translated down. And this wave of portal guys, I mean, I think it's more that they're just not very good, more than it is a buy-in thing. But to JJ's point, once it goes south, they're not going to play for
There's
pride.
not a leader. DJU's not standing up there at halftime of the SMU game being like, damn it, we got to get this right, for the logo.
And I'll go back to it. He's not their only problem.
Right.
I mean, he is a problem, and now they've put the or on the depth chart, so maybe we will see Brock Glenn.
They don't do him any favors with play calling. Dude, it was 3rd and goal right before halftime. By the way, he's the heaviest college football quarterback in the entire nation. They ran back-to-back quarterback draws from 3-yard line on 3rd and 4th down that had no prayer of working.
Well, it takes him 3 seconds just to take his first step.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Desmond Watson would beat him in a 10-yard split. And I mean, but it's not. So yes, the play calling is a problem. There are 133 Division I teams. Florida State is 126th in the nation in scoring offense.
Wow.
At 15.2 points a game.
126.
Playing no one that's ranked.
Right. And I will tell you, when that really crystallized for me, when I watched them play SMU, and it looked like Vanderbilt playing Alabama back in the day. That's what shocked me. When you SMU is having a good year, you're having a down year. They beat you the way Georgia Tech did a last-second field. They were clearly better. I'm not even sure SMU played that well in the game. I'm not even sure they played a great game.
I mean, it's middle of the third quarter, and SMU's band is mockingly playing the war chant.
Yeah, so I mean, I am honest to God, I am shocked, totally shocked. All right, so we'll talk more about that. But I want to get it back to the Jaguars. My friend Bucky Brooks waits on the other side. I will tell you this: JJ La Selva out of South Ocala, Florida.
Is Kenny Powers pitching today for the Braves?
Let me just tell you this: this guy pitching for the Braves has some significant hair.
Clay Holmes, I believe his name is.
I mean, let me tell you, I've seen guys like
Grant Holmes.
Look at this guy's hair. Okay. This is significant.
It really does look like Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down. That's hilarious.
But longer.
The saddest part is it was supposed to be Cy Young winning Chris Sale to save the season, who's been scratched with back
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to say this right now with everybody listening. Other than Paul Skeens, this guy's my favorite pitcher in the big leagues. Okay, this guy's now my favorite. I have a Hays. You got to have a favorite pitcher. Okay, this is my favorite guy. Look at this guy's head there. This guy's got a flow and then, doesn't he?
He's got its swagger. There's no doubt.
How do you not root for the Braves? Now, I hope this guy,
Amen.
I'm not going to lie. I hope he throws a no-hitter, okay? I might even
imagine that?
I might even predict the serious hair on this guy, the Atlanta Braves. Well, Rick Mailer and Phil Neutral, where are you? For God's sake. We'll take a break. Bucky Brooks waits on the other side. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
He'll cross the line into the danger zone so you can be informed from the safety of home.
Out here, it's military law, and I'm in charge of enforcing it.
Hays Carlyon takes you behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, why is it that when you look at how long a store has been in business, that it always seems to be the stores like Underwood's that sell fine quality that have been around the longest?
Frank, that's a question that really doesn't get asked a lot, but it should be. There are a number of reasons, but probably the biggest is because of the endorsements our longtime customers and their pieces of jewelry have given us through the years. You see, when you sell really fine quality jewelry, that piece will last longer and always stay beautiful. It might stay in the same family for generations, and through those years of wear, a lot of compliments will be made and a lot of people will be told where the piece of jewelry came from. You see, at a store like Underwood's, it's our stated goal to be the best jeweler in the South, not the biggest, so everything we do and carry has to help move us toward that goal. And ultimately, it's the satisfied customers wearing fine quality jewelry that have kept Underwood's in Jacksonville since 1928.
Underwood's in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life oil filter for just $35.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say, "What?
Huh? I'm so over this."
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this.
Call State Farm agent Mike Tousell in Jacksonville at 425-4100.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval! Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval? That's right, man. I really identify with Duval. You live in St. Johns County, knucklehead. I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up. The boss. Because, of course, oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me. That's just not true. What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss." Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you. Go find yours. They may even make you a boss. I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash. Where more is better. And you got that right.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
A meal and sparkling conversation.
Helmets and heels.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Just behave, okay?
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. You tired of having your carpets professionally cleaned only to have them looking dingy again? Zero Res can help. I'll tell you what, they have the technology. Zero Res uses its patented ZR water that cleans beautifully without using any soaps, detergents, or shampoos. That means zero residue left behind. And guess what? Zero Res falling back in time for September. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129, and we'll clean a 4th room for free. That's right, the 4th room is on me. Zero Res, man, spell it forward. Zero Res, spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jacks, so we gotta play like the experts we are. Now, who are we?
Roland Reach Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like.
Customers always win with Roland Reach Plumbing at plumberinjacks.com.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Alabama-Georgia game did not disappoint this weekend as it turned into an absolute thriller. After Alabama got up 28-0 in the first half, Georgia came all the way back to regain the lead in the 4th before Jalen Milroe found Ryan Williams with 2 minutes left in Bama's go-ahead 75-yard touchdown to win them the game. Here's Kirby Smart's post-game thoughts after a narrow loss, but nonetheless a game to remember.
You have to pick your poison. Do you want the guy to take off and beat you running? Do you want to play loose coverage and try to keep eyes on him so he doesn't take off? He ran the ball well on the perimeter, and we lost contain, and then he also threw the ball well, which made it really tough. In the second half, we played some tighter coverage. We made some stops, and we possessed the ball on offense, and we just, when you make stops, you give yourself a chance.
It's 86 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The buck stops here. Time now for Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Coyle & Sons, Jacksonville's commercial fence specialist, on The Frangie Show.
And we thank our friends from Coyle & Sons. Man, they do a great job. Commercial fencing like nobody else. They've done it for a long time around here, since 1927. Call them at 356, that's 904, 356-4821 for any of your fencing needs, or log on to coiljacks.com. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon with you. Bucky Brooks joins us. Hey, Bucky and I went and grabbed a steak the other day. He said he got sea bass because he's a healthy guy. Healthy guy. He's very healthy. He's a healthy guy. He's healthy. I'm eating this big-ass steak like I always do, and he's a healthy guy.
Tough to beat sea bass.
There's good sea bass, it looked like. It was good sea bass. So, Bucky, oh, boy, that was a tough one the other day. You're around the team. You're on the sidelines. You're in the locker room. What are you sensing? Is it a lack of confidence? Is it confusion? When that thing ended last night, well, give me the vibe on the sideline and even in the locker room around the Jags after that.
Well, Frank, I know you're an avid golfer, so just think about going through like a little bit of a slump where you can't get off the tee box right. You're all over the place. You're spraying it, and even though you're doing all the work right, you're at the driving range. You're spending extra time putting or whatever. For whatever reason, you can't score. That's where we are right now. We're doing all the right things. You hear all about the practices. The practices have been good. The energy has been good. The attitude and the effort has been there. But on game day, we just haven't been able to take what we're doing in practice and put it into play in the game. I would say that, look, the mindset and everything, all that stuff is good. And even though it was really disappointing at the end of the game, and you could tell by the way Coach Peterson addressed the media and how the players are talking, like, look, man, it's tough when you lose 4 games in a row on the heels of losing the way that you lost at the end of the year. But I still have a firm belief that if they can just get a dub, they can just get a win, it will really let all the pressure out the balloon, and you'll finally see this team play the way that many of us expected they would play.
Bucky, we all appreciate Trevor Lawrence as a person, but he's missing throws that it just seems like you just can't miss. How do you evaluate Trevor's play? Is there anything you're seeing that he can do to improve?
So it's, the passing game is a combination of everything, right? It's not only the quarterback itself who's the thrower, but it's the protection, it's the wide receivers being in the right spot at the right time when he's ready to throw. So it's a little bit of everything, right? Like, he hasn't played his best. He's missed some throws, and I'm sure if you ask him if he can make, he'd say, I can make that throw 9 out of 10 times. It just hasn't happened. And all it takes is a little contact, a little disruption in the pocket early in the game to change your rhythm, where you quicken your clock. You don't necessarily stay with your footwork and your mechanics and those things. I honestly think Trevor, like a lot of the guys, they just need something good to happen. They just need, if he hits Christian Kirk on the deep ball early, hits Brian Thomas Jr. on the deep ball early, I'm telling you, the pressure that he's playing with, because to me, when I watch him just from the sideline, I feel like I'm watching a player who has the weight of the world on their shoulders. And sometimes you can be burdened by, you would think that the pressure would be off once you sign a big deal. But sometimes you put more pressure on yourself to now have to prove that I'm worthy of the contract that I just signed. And just knowing Trevor, he has a bit of the perfectionist thing where he wants to be great all the time. Sometimes, man, it's hard to carry that because you beat yourself up and you never can find that happy place where you can just go out and play the game and have fun playing the game.
Yeah, you said, and Bucky said what he just said to you, Hays, to me the other day. We were talking kind of offline about it. If Trevor could find a way to relax. I almost wonder this, Buck. I almost wonder if, because you're now 0-4 and people have quit talking about playoffs this and division this, almost just go have fun and win a game. Like to your point about getting just go. Are they almost to the point that because they're 0-4 now, it's almost, is there more pressure? Can you relax a little bit? What the hell? Let's just go play. Could that happen? Could it happen that way?
It can. And so here's the thing, Frank. Like, I'm a Jags optimist, right? So even though everyone is saying the sky's falling at 0-4, if you really look at the schedule, right, there's an opportunity where if we play right, we can make a bit of a run and get close to 500 right at the midway point, right? So let's just say you win this weekend coming up, you win the 2 in London, you come back and maybe win a tough one. So you're sitting at 3-4, 4-4, whatever. Every team just wants to be in range to make a run down at the end of the regular season.
Right.
So if they just can, like, hey, take the playoffs off the thing and just try and, like, break it up. We talked about it. I told you the theory, like, hey, just play 4 individual games when you struggle. And they did that. If you really look at the way the game played out, they did it. They got it to the fourth quarter. They had a chance to go up by 10 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But they really could have knocked this team out, and they didn't do it. Yeah, I think the pressure is off, but you got to find joy in all of it. And so Doug has to find a way to lighten the mood in the building. Even though everyone feels the pressure of needing to win, you got to lighten the mood. You got to get a way for them to have fun playing the kids' game and hope that they can lose themselves in the moment, where then they start playing like they're supposed to play.
Bucky, I thought defensively, considering they didn't have Foye and Tyson and Lloyd and Savage and Wingard, I thought defensively they played well enough to win. What were your thoughts on that side of the ball and some of the youngsters that got a chance to play significant roles for the first time?
I can't be more impressed with the young guys that have been playing. You know, like so much of what we talked about is like, hey, we need the stars to play like stars and those things. But sometimes we can get so caught up into what the stars are or are not doing that we don't appreciate what the young guys are doing. I'm going to tell you 2 guys that I walked away with more impressed with than I ever have been. Buster Brown has played great since he got his opportunity to jump in the starting lineup. I mean, he has been exactly what we hoped he would be and even better. He is playing well. He's tackling well. The energy he takes on the challenge, he's been great. And I think we may have found a player in Ventrell Miller yesterday. This dude was all over the place as a sideline player. I can tell you at halftime, he was a vocal leader, exhorting the team, talking about play it one play at a time. Let's win on third down, money down. He was bringing the energy that you like to see. Look, you're always looking for silver linings, right? The silver lining to me in the early part of the season, there's some young guys that can play. So now when the veterans come back, how do you handle that? But there's some young guys who carved out playing times and roles for themselves that you don't want to take off the field.
And one of the things Bucky told us in his halftime report, Hays, was that Ventrell was the most vocal guy at the half, which you have to Bucky, you kind of have to be on the field to be that. You can't be the vocal guy if you're sitting on the sidelines, right? Because no one's going to listen to you. Once you're playing, then you can be that guy, right?
Yeah, like Frank, if you guys can close your eyes and just think about what your stereotypical Mike linebacker would be, right? He's normally the traffic cop, the communicator, the leader, kind of the bad guy in terms of the bully on the block.
Yeah.
Ventrell Miller jumped into that role like that's right. What he was built for. He was about it. He was on them. And he just kept saying, we got to get off the field on third down. We got to win the money down. And then he talked about, we got to hit somebody. I am telling you, man, if he starts putting together another performance like that, you're going to start having some serious conversations about how you keep him on the field and who do you take off the field. Because he was that good yesterday.
Yeah, I would love to see, no disrespect to Devin Lloyd, I'd love to see Ventrell and Foye together. So we'll see. That's the silver lining. The concern I have, I told Hays this earlier, the concern I have, I worry about the interiors of both lines. I think the biggest thing is they started the middle of last year, Bucky. They can't make 3rd and 1. They can't make 4th and 1. And I don't think that's play calling. I don't think they've got a downhill runner in Bigsby. I worry about the interiors. I know they're trying. I know they're battling. But both lines, the 2 defensive tackles and center guard on offense, I worry about those 2 positions. Do you? Are you concerned about the personnel there?
I am. I'm absolutely concerned. And there's a thread on X where if you go to Bill Barnwell, he did a little breakdown of the Jags offense. And he talked about a couple of plays. And look, man, Brandon Scherf on some of these key plays, man, he's losing the battle at the point of attack. The 4th and goal on the quarterback draw. Patatashi beats him.
Right.
Not Trevor back. Like, it's a one-on-one block where you think that, look, man, one of your best interior players is going to win his block. Trevor's going to scoot into the end zone. And time after time, Brandon Scherf is having an issue being able to win his battle. The tackles played better. We heard Doug in the presser today talk about, look, man, the tackles played better. They improved. They did. They played much better, which is why the offense was able to kind of run the ball, had 150-plus yards on the ground. But interior, Brandon Scherf has been a bit of a weakness. Mitch Morse is playing good. Ezra Cleveland playing solid. But right now, 68 has been a bit of an issue on the inside.
Bucky, do you get a sense that Houston isn't really all that good? Is there a chance that maybe, if you're looking for silver linings for the Jaguars, that the AFC South champion again could be 9-8? Because I saw Houston yesterday, and they look like they're littered with issues.
Yeah, they're fine. I mean, they're a good team, but look, the National Football League, is about what you saw yesterday. Every team, no matter how good we think or how bad we are, all of them are within 7 points. And so if you play the right way, you can win. It's one of the reasons why the Carolina Panthers can go on the road and knock off the Vegas Raiders. And it's another reason why you never know in a week-to-week league who's going to win. The Broncos beating the Jets. So I say all that to say, like, if the Jaguars fix their issues and if they just can play clean football over a stretch of time, they absolutely can walk down the Houston Texans, because there's going to be some other teams that knock them off. They're within range. You can't keep waiting, though. At some point, you got to start winning games, but they absolutely can catch them at the end. To me, the magic number is going to be 10. I think to win the division, you got to get to 10 games. And so whoever gets to 10 is going to be the ones that I think is ultimately going to be the AFC South one.
When you see Trevor struggling, you've made the point all along that he's got to relax. He's got to relax. And I agree with that. But I still think it's in there, man. People aren't crazy, right? I mean, he was the first pick overall and generational talent for a reason. He's a good kid. He works really hard. He's a great teammate. Is there any doubt in your mind that when the light does go on, and it's going to go on, that he'll be all of that?
Yeah, I think it's him finding the process that works for himself, right? Like, everybody is different in terms of, like, how they prepare and how they get ready. Frank, we'll go back to man, there's some guys that you play with that can shoot a 78. Yep. They may not pick up a club from Saturday to Friday, but on the next Saturday, they're going to be lights out. I think with Trevor, he has to figure out, man, am I doing too much? Am I working too hard? Am I putting too much pressure on myself by doing it? The other thing, and it started this way, with your quarterback, is really important that if you want to get them going, you got to play the hit, right? So you want to take them and put them in situations that they feel comfortable with. Early in the game, think about Trevor got off to a pretty fast start. And you remember what they did early in getting the ball to Christian Kirk. It was screens, quick passes, RPOs, catch, rock, throw, balls out. Catch, rock, throw, balls out. The other thing they did very early in the game, they fed the pigs. And so one of the things that you do is when your team is struggling, you not only play the hits for the quarterback, but you make sure your best players are the only ones touching the ball. Christian Kirk, 12 targets. Brian Thomas Jr., 9 targets. And if you think about the way that first quarter was played, they were the only ones getting the ball. And then it was Tank Bigsby getting the ball on the ground. I think if they continue to take the approach that they took yesterday, it eventually worked for them. They just got to be stubborn with the approach and know that, hey, it's going to pay off. We just got to stick to it. We can't let the outside noise impact the way that we approach the game.
Is Thomas a star?
Oh, my gosh, man, this dude is good. He is so good. And the people at LSU had told me, Cortez Hankton, former Jags, was the receiver coach there, and he talked about the difference between he and Malik Neighbors. He said Malik Neighbors is a dog. He said, but the other guy is gifted and talented, and he doesn't even know how good he is. When I watch him, it is so easy for him. The reverse that he came around and picked up 12 yards, he is just scooting and skipping and dancing around. No crazy effort, not straining to get it, but just has it. The catches that he made, because I don't know if he got enough credit. He caught a ball coming over the middle that was a little high. He snags it, plucks it, whatever. And then they call that bogus penalty, which was a huge play because it kind of crushed the drive. But that was a great kick. He does that over and over again. Guys, it's a matter of time before he becomes the number one. And he's going to be the one that they target every game 15 times. Because when he touched the ball, nothing but good things happen.
Final thing, Bucky, we'll let you go. What are your impressions of the Colts? The Colts come in here. I'm not a big Richardson guy. You know this. I watched every snap he played at Florida. I thought he was just okay. I think he may be really good at some point. He's a good kid. He plays hard. I'd rather see Richardson than Flacco, I think. Buck, I think Joe Flacco's a veteran guy. I think I'd rather them play the young guy. Well, what are your impressions of the Colts early on?
Frank, that's like a boxing match, right, where you can knock the guy out, but you keep holding him up. No.
Right.
No, we want to go. We don't want to go. That's what happened yesterday. When Richardson, when I see him get hurt, I'm like, no. We want to play against him because Joe Flacco, we saw last year in Cleveland, veteran guy, understands what everything is going on around him, can slow the game down. You hope that Richardson plays, but look, man, the Colts aren't silly. They also saw what their offense looks like with the older guy, the veteran guy in the building. Now, if Flacco plays, the good thing that happened is he got on the field yesterday. So the Jaguars can begin to prepare for him. Either way, man, it's going to be a tough game. It's a division game. But, man, there's one thing that we typically know. When we play the Colts at home, we typically get a win. So hopefully we can stay true to that and get a big win next week when Coach Coughlin is being hot.
Yeah, you know what? That's going to be a special day for people like you that have been part of this franchise for a long, long time. Bucky Brooks checking in, talking Jaguar football from NFL Network and the Jaguars Radio Network. Buck, thanks, buddy. See you next week.
All right, man. Talk to you guys.
All right, Bucky Brooks. Buck does a terrific job. He really knows football and really gives a good feel for it and does a great job talking Jaguars football.
He's great on NFL Network.
Any good?
The show, with Daniel Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's a lot of fun.
He really is good, and he loves it. And he knows the game. He lives in Los Angeles and makes the cross-country trip every week to call Jaguars games. So we'll take a break. When we come back, Hays has headlines on the other side. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold & Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Here we come.
The best defense is a superior fence. Superior Fence and Rail highlights the defensive player of the game. On 1010XL, Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our two blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
If you're getting married or want to upgrade your bands, now is the time at Beard's Diamonds.
Because it's Beard's Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one on wedding band sale.
At the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. By the looks of it, there were some huge hits betting on MyBookie this weekend. If you didn't make the right plays, you have Monday Night Football tonight to get right. The Titans travel to Miami to play the Dolphins. This is basically a pick'em game, so who do you think is going to win? You know, here at 1010XL, we don't bet on the Titans. We're taking the Dolphins all day, hoping their defense can cause major problems for a turnover-happy Will Levis. And if you think that hits, why not do a parlay and bet the over-under total 36.5? $100 bet pays $260. MyBookie is still running the double deposit bonus. You need to get started now. Use my promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. You heard that right. Double your money with 1010XL before you even place a bet. Sign up, use promo code 1010XL to claim your double deposit bonus. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
Start your week by talking teal with Tony. Hall of Fame Monday with Tony Baselli. Monday mornings at 7:20 with Dan and Jeff on the drill. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida. Hall of Fame Quality Roofing Solutions on 1010XL.
I'm Chris Campione. In a world of big box law firms with satellite offices, there's something special about having a local legal team that cares about you and your community. We're not just lawyers, we're your neighbors. We understand the unique challenges facing the Jacksonville community because we live here too. At Campione Law, Campione Cares isn't just a tagline, it's our commitment to you. Campione Law, your trusted lawyers after an accident. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
It's time to take it back to the 90s, Jags fans. Be at the bank Sunday, October 6th, as we debut our Prowler throwback jerseys against the Colts and induct legendary head coach Tom Coughlin into the pride of the Jaguars at halftime. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. You're not going to want to miss this matchup. Lock in your seats now by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. We've got Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Holt and his lovely wife, Jessie, are going to be over watching the UCF game on Saturday night at our house. So
Love it.
Hopefully it will be a good day for the Gators. And I'm not expecting much.
But you know what, though?
But we'll have a good time regardless.
Have a party anyway, what you do. That's the job.
We will have a good time regardless. But hopefully you won't need them. But if you ever do, if you're ever injured, you or a loved one, give them a call, 251-1111 for Harrell & Harrell. Frank, we'll just start at the top. Jaguars lose a heartbreaker. Trevor Lawrence missing throws. Is that going to be something? What's your gut on that? Is that just a slump? Is that going to last all year?
Yeah,
what's going on with Trevor Lawrence?
I'm not worried about that. I think Trevor's going to hit those throws. I think Doug said something today. He gets hyped up and overthrows a little bit. I've told you this before. There's a lot of young quarterbacks. Josh Allen is a perfect example. It took a while. 2 or 3 years in, we thought, my goodness, he's not very good, and now he's one of the best players in the National Football League. Trevor's going to be very, very good. I've got some concerns about the Jags and their makeup, but Trevor Lawrence is not one of them. Now, having said that, he's got to start hitting those throws. It's one thing to be talked about. You got to start doing it, but he's got his makeup is right, his work ethic is right, the hardware, obviously, he's a big, strong guy with a great arm, the talent. Everything is there for him. Everything is there. So I don't worry at all that it's going to start. The light's going to go on. And he's made some awfully big throws in his career too. He'll find his way. That's one I don't worry about.
Let's get it to around the NFL. Derrick Henry, the Yulee bulldozer, runs for 199 yards as the Ravens trounce the Bills 35-10 on Sunday Night Football.
And on the 87-yarder, did you see him pulling away from cornerbacks?
Oh, it's unreal.
He's 260 pounds, and he's pulling away from defensive backs.
Yeah.
Like, it was bizarre. I mean, he was running away from them. Pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, I think they clocked him at like 21.4 miles an hour.
Running away from them.
Yeah.
Thank God the NFL let the Ravens get him.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And
crazy.
I mean, everybody, we've been trying. Listen, that guy, he was at Yulee, and people were trying to make him a defensive end. He got to Alabama, he won the Heisman Trophy. The NFL, they wanted to make him a defensive end. He got the Titans, one of the best running backs of all time. Then they want to get rid of him because he's too old. He's not too old.
Not too old.
I think he's got more time left. Good for Derrick Henry. What a wonderful kid and wonderful player.
Without a doubt, an incredible game. Just 1 yard shy of 200 against a great Buffalo team. So, magical night for Derrick Henry. Congratulations to him and his family. Let's get it to the AFC South. The Colts beat the Steelers to move to 2-2, handing Pittsburgh its first loss.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Pittsburgh was.
Yeah, you had that in the picks, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And Pittsburgh was not a good enough team to be 3-0. And I think JJ and I both said can't see them getting to 4-0. Now look, Justin Fields looked good for them yesterday, but I think the Colts aren't a bad team. They're beat up defensively, so they're without a lot of people. But no, I expected that. The interesting thing about the Colts will be. Will Richardson come back? Will they play him? Will they stay with Flacco, who's become the best relief pitcher in football right now? You know, what will wind up happening and what will they wind up doing? But I don't think the Colts are terrible. I really don't.
Tough injury news out of Kansas City again. The Chiefs believe star receiver Rashee Rice tore his ACL in yesterday's win over the Chargers. So Kansas City's yet to lose, Frank. But they're now down Hollywood Brown, Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice. It is just brutal injury luck for the two-time defending world champions.
And here's the problem. They'll overcome because they always do. But here's the problem. All three of those guys give them the same thing, burst. Pacheco's a running back, the other two are receivers, obviously. But they all three do the same thing, Hayes. They give them burst. They give them suddenness. When you have the rifle arm of Patrick Mahomes, that's great, but you need some suddenness to go with it. I thought by winning the Super Bowl last year, they overcame the fact that they didn't have a great core of receivers. Well, now when everybody's healthy, they have They have burst, but they need those 3 guys back for sure.
Yeah, and it looks like all 3 are going to, all 3 are going to probably be out for either the year or the majority of it. Week 4 in the NFL concludes tonight with Tennessee at Miami and Seattle at Detroit. Any of those grab your attention?
The second one for sure. Tennessee, Miami, because it's a division game. I always watch the division teams. But I'm sure Seattle and Detroit are both good. And Detroit, a lot of people had Detroit in the Super Bowl. I think that's going to be fun. By the way, I love the doubleheaders. I wish we did it every Monday night. I wish they did it every Monday night. I all year long. That gives more teams a chance to play on Monday night, more teams a chance to play on a quasi-national game. I wish they did it here. I love the doubleheader. Yeah, I'll be locked in for sure.
Yeah, it should be a fun night of football. Let's get to college football. Alabama holds on to beat Georgia. Kirby Smart now 1-6 against the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, and by the way, a lot of people are not very many against the Crimson Tide. It stands out because Kirby beats everybody else. But I will tell you, Georgia's as good as advertised. No surprise there. They'll be in the playoffs and they'll go deep. I didn't know what to think of Alabama before the season started. When the light went on for me was that second half against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not lousy. Wisconsin played a good first half against USC and led for a while. They're not great, but they're not terrible. Boy, Alabama really hit a gear. And Jalen Milroe might be the Heisman Trophy winner. He, as a runner and a passer, and bro, I never saw that. I thought he was a running back playing quarterback. Hey, here's how smart I am. The guy that I made the comment, because I'm a really smart guy, Hays. I made the comment years ago that if FSU ever had to turn to Jordan Travis as their quarterback, they wouldn't be very good. He was a wide receiver playing quarterback, okay? Well, I was a dummy, okay? I also thought Jalen Milroe didn't throw it well enough to be a quarterback. I was a dummy again. He was fantastic, I thought.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, what a tremendous win for Kalen DeBoer. My goodness.
And almost the worst loss ever for Kalen DeBoer.
Yes, no doubt about it.
Imagine him blowing that lead in his first real game as a Bama coach.
It would have been an absolute nightmare. But, it's when you got Ryan Williams, it certainly helps. And Milroe certainly pushes his name to right up at the top of the Heisman list. Let's stay in the SEC. Kentucky goes into Oxford and upsets Ole Miss. Does that loss maybe push Lane Kiffin closer to the Gators, Frank?
We'll talk more about that tomorrow. I don't know if it pushes him close. I'm going to keep an eye on the Ole Miss season. Kentucky went in there and outplayed them. They really, and I'll give you were ahead of the game on the whole Mark Stoops thing. They played with a toughness. That was a heck of a game. I'm watching it on the plane flying out to Houston.
Kentucky did catch some breaks.
Yeah, they did. But
fumbled into the end zone for the game winner.
Well, they did, but it's not like, they almost
drove there.
They're right. They drove to the 2-yard line anyway, whatever it was. So yeah. By the way, I didn't like the Wildcat call. They ran Wildcat on that play and fumbled and got lucky. But we'll keep an eye on the whole Ole Miss thing. I think Lane Kiffin's going to be the Florida coach no matter playoffs or not, so I don't know that it affected a lot. But that was a weird watching him coach them. It was a weird feeling watching that Ole Miss game.
South Carolina this week, by the way.
Yeah, on the road.
Who beat Kentucky
on the road. They have to play at South Carolina. So yeah, that's. What if they lose? What if they lose 5 games? Is he less attractive?
No.
I don't think so either, but that narrative could creep in there. We'll see.
Yeah, it could.
Maybe I'll get a discount.
There you go. Let's get it to, we mentioned the Noles earlier in the show. They lose to SMU to drop to 1-4. But we do have an or now on the quarterback depth chart that FSU has released for this week's game against Clemson. Now, DJ Uiagalelei is dealing with the finger issue sustained late in that game. But Frank, to me, when I saw that or, it meant we've seen enough. We're not going to start him against Clemson, the team that he was certainly, at for multiple seasons. I think you're going to see Brock Glenn, injury or no injury. What do you think? What does Florida State Mike Norvell do at quarterback with the Tigers coming to town?
I think the only thing that keeps DJ in play is because it's Clemson, and probably one of the reasons he went to FSU is to get one more crack at Clemson, the school where he started. And Mike Norvell's a good guy, and I think he's probably going to try and start DJ for that reason. I don't think he'll finish the game, but I think if healthy, he'll start the game. But you got to play the young guy. I listen. You're going nowhere. You're going to be 1-5 after this week. I don't think they're going to beat Clemson. I think they're headed to 1-5. I think they're headed to maybe a 3-win season, maybe a 4-win season at most. Play your young people. You got to play now. You have to play for the future. You're not like Billy Napier who's trying to save your job. Mike Norvell's not going anywhere. Although there's anger in the fan base.
Without a doubt.
I mean, there's fans who don't want him, which is amazing after they won 13 games a year ago. But he's not going anywhere. So if you're not going anywhere, play for the future.
I would agree. What a ball game Friday night.
Whoa.
Miami, Virginia Tech.
They tried to rob it from us.
The Canes survive. Good overturn, Frank, on the Hail Mary?
I thought there wasn't enough to overturn it. I'm not sure he caught it.
I was about to say, did you think it was the worst call on the field of all time?
No, I didn't.
Really?
In fact, no, JJ, I disagree. I think you didn't know, number one. And
they
by
were
the way,
all out of bounds.
Yeah. I don't think you knew. I
think if they would have caught it an incompletion on the field, they would have shown one replay of it, and no one would have batted an eye. They would have never even talked about it.
I didn't see it. Did you see it that way, Hayes? I thought
I didn't think he caught it.
Yeah.
But then once they made the call that he did,
right,
I then was surprised that they overturned the call.
I thought he might have caught it. I just don't know. But I can't tell you. There's plays like that I've seen that I agree with you guys. Like, okay, he didn't catch it. There may not be enough to show he didn't catch it, but I know in my heart he didn't catch it. I didn't feel that way about this one. I had no dog in the fight. I really didn't care. But I thought he might have caught it, gone to the ground, secured it, and then they knocked it out immediately after he secured it. So I thought he might have caught it.
Every Gator fan has a dog in the fight.
Yeah. No,
honestly, I don't. If Miami goes undefeated, I don't care.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
You guys beat Florida State enough for me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That I'll never hate Miami.
Yeah. If I was rooting against Miami, would have been. Being honest with you, if Virginia Tech was 4-0 and Miami was 2-2, I might have been rooting for Miami. It was just if I rooted for Virginia Tech, the underdog would make a good story. No, I don't hate Miami, but I'm just being honest with you. I thought that he might have caught it, and then it was knocked out right after the catch. So I did not think there was enough to overturn it. But hey, you know what?
I thought Terry Porter was on the field and called it a touchdown.
I
was flabbergasted.
Yeah. By the way,
the guy was on the 30-yard line running with the ball. We're celebrating. The lights are down, and it's just like the announcer's like, "Oh,
yeah." By the way,
Virginia Tech's celebrating."
For people that don't know the Terry Porter reference, if you don't know what he's talking about, worst call of all time.
Absolutely.
But the fact that Miami doesn't have the back-to-back titles,
right?
Now that guy should never work again.
Yeah.
That was the worst call of all time.
That was against Ohio State.
Pass interference. Yeah, it was a horrendous call.
Yeah. Quickly, before we leave this game, I do want to give a shout-out to Cam Ward for those 3 straight touchdown drives because they were down multiple scores in the fourth quarter. 10 out of 10 times over the last 20 years, Miami would have lost this game.
Yeah.
And
that little flip he did was
that was
amazing.
insane.
That was the play of the game.
Yeah.
And the flip was the fact that he didn't get sacked on that play.
Crazy.
And let me say one other thing about Miami, okay? I'm not sure the guy didn't catch the ball. I wouldn't have overturned it. But it's not like they were on the 1-yard line. It was a Hail Mary. So, I mean, Virginia Tech was lucky. If he had caught it, it was a lucky play.
And they did some dumb things to even leave Miami in that game. They went for a fake field goal. Right. It was just like they didn't deserve to win that. It was a crazy game, crazy ending. I love college football.
I do as well. We have a new AP Top 25 poll. Bama moves to number 1, followed by Texas, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Georgia falls to 5. Miami dropped 1 to number 8 after their scare. Ole Miss fell 6 spots to number 12 after losing to Kentucky. The SEC has 7 teams in the top 13.
I will tell you what, the first year of that 12-gamer, that's going to be one heck of a tournament, bro. I mean, that is going to be one heck of a tournament. There's some good teams, and there's not one dominant team that's better than the rest. That's going to be fun to watch. It really is.
Without a doubt. Let's get it to Major League Baseball. The Atlanta Braves lost Game 1 to the Mets, but are up 1-0 right now in a must-win game. JJ, what's going to happen here?
Oh my goodness. So Chris Sale was supposed to start this game. He was scratched for back tightness. I think they've been lying about his injury for like a week at this point. Just keep pushing it back and back and back. So you guys, this boy Kenny Powers is on the mound. He's pitched 3 scoreless so
far. And he's fantastic.
Yes. I think the Braves are going to win this just because the Mets really have nothing to play for. But I mean, they've been terrible all year, the Braves. So I wouldn't be surprised if they score like 2 runs and somehow the Mets come back and win this. By the way, the first game was absolutely bonkers. Braves had a 3-0 lead, then they blew it. Then the Braves got the lead back in the 8th just to blow it again in the 9th. So the Miracle Mets this year made it to the playoffs.
Without a doubt. Sad news in the NBA today. Dikembe Mutombo, one of the greatest defensive players of all time, dies at the age of 58 from brain cancer. So just a tribute to one of the best big men defensively to ever live.
Yeah, and the finger wag and the no. It will always. He did commercials about it. He was a charismatic guy, man. That is a sad news. I totally agree with that.
Absolutely. We will get you out on our music of the day because we're celebrating the Beatles' release of Abbey Road. 55 years ago, it was released this week. Back in 1969, Abbey Road was their 11th studio album. This album has perhaps the most recognizable cover of all time, with the band, of course, walking across Abbey Road. Right. This has come together.
Here Comes the Sun.
Oh, yeah.
Come Together. Something. Polythene Pan. Mean Mr. Mustard. I could go on and on and on. Maxwell Silver Hammer. Golden Slumber. It is their best album. And now listen, every rock fan's got a favorite Beatles album. Some like Revolver, some like the White Album. To me, this is their best album. It's one of the first albums I ever had. It's one of my first albums I ever had, and I think it's magnificent. No question about it. Well done on headlines, as always. We'll be back to wrap the program right after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
College football, the Ohio State Buckeyes are now the betting favorite to win this year's championship. The Buckeyes ranked third in the latest AP poll, or plus 370. Alabama, coming off a victory against number 2 Georgia, are plus 380. Texas, unbeaten at 5-0 and dropping to number 2 in the AP poll, or plus 500 to win the national title. Georgia, plus 550. The Oregon Ducks and the Tennessee Volunteers are both plus 1,000 to win the national championship. Further down, Miami and Penn State, both plus 1,800. This update brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
Duck Rooter provides plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services across the First Coast. We have the ability to travel straight to you when you need it most. We have our community covered. Duck Rooter technicians are your neighbors, friends, and family. We know you best. Understand what sets us apart from the rest. When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
Hey, football fans, looking for the ultimate game day experience? Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. We're talking big plays on the big screens, food specials that'll make your taste buds cheer, and drink deals that'll keep your spirits high. And get this, we're open till 4 a.m., serving food and drinks until 2. Make the smart play. Head to Best Bet St. Augustine and ante up for your team. Find us at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com. Best Bet St. Augustine, where every game day is a win.
Post Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
Salvatore's famous pizza now in Jacksonville, Tapestry Park off Southside Boulevard. In honor of our favorite player, number 16, Salvatore's large pizza with lots of mozzarella and one topping, only $16. Coupon at salvatores.com. Dine in, pick up, and delivery. $16 for a large Salvatore's pizza with lots of mozzarella and one topping. Coupon at salvatores.com. Tax and delivery extra.
Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Brian Thomas Jr. was special on Sunday in Houston. The teal and black wideout recorded 86 yards on 6 receptions and added in a touchdown in what was a stellar showing. The young rookie shined like the superstar that he is, and there's plenty of excitement to see what's next for him. Brian Thomas Jr. is your Universal Roofing Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
Universal Roof and Contracting has been protecting Florida homes from the elements for over 30 years. Call Universal Roof and Contracting today for a free roof inspection and get 15% off your roof repair or replacement. Plus, flexible financing options and payments as low as $115 a month. This offer expires September 30th. Call 855-ROOF-HELP.
License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
This is Paige, owner of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. People ask me all the time what's healthy, and that's hard because healthy is different from losing weight, and I think that's where a lot of people struggle. There are a lot of foods out there that are healthy foods, but they're not going to support your weight loss, and that's what we're here to help with. We're here to help you get in the healthy foods that are going to help you lose weight. The Awaken 180 difference is our coaches. It's our team. You can find things online about weight loss, but you try them yourself and they just don't work. And that's because everyone is different. And that's what our coaches are so skilled at helping you figure out.
They certainly figure it out. This is Mike Dempsey. And as you all know, I dropped my 25 pounds in just 4 weeks thanks to Awaken 180. They did the work. I just followed my plan. They did the same for Matt Hays, and I'd say they hit the target with Hacker, about to reach the 100-pound mark. Let them do it for you. Reserve your consultation at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone. All thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Ride the hurricane wave as the storm brews in South Beach.
Keeping you closer to the U with news and notes from the Orange and Green on the Hurricane Report on 1010XL.
Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Now sitting at 0-4, the Jaguars have found themselves in a tough spot and a very deep hole to climb out of. With postseason aspirations essentially buried in the ground, the team must now focus on smaller victories and improving day by day. Here's Trevor Lawrence's thoughts from yesterday's game on how the team executed.
I think overall, we got what we wanted. We had a good plan. We were prepared for a lot of stuff. But overall, I thought our plan was good. I thought we had a lot of opportunities, run game and throwing the ball down the field. Didn't capitalize on all of them, unfortunately, and that's kind of why we're here now and didn't win the game, in my opinion, is because we didn't take advantage of some of those opportunities. But I thought as far as scheme and stuff that we did, it was really good.
I'm Max Fink here with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Cleaning up with Hays is made spotless by Molly Maid.
Well, you're getting ready to hear the most ridiculous thing that you'll hear all week, so I apologize, but bear with me because, yes, the Jaguars are 0-4, and I see very little hope. But the little hope I see is what I see from the Houston Texans, who were billed as a top 5 team going into this season, and I have now seen play 4 games, and I think they're an incredibly average team. Frankly, they handed the Jaguars the game yesterday, and they didn't take it. Now Houston is 3-1, and they deserve credit for that. But they're minus 15 in point differential through 4 games. Here's what they have coming up, and this is my point. The AFC South champion will be 9-8 or worse. So at 0-4, yeah, you're probably out of a wild card berth. You're probably not going to catch whoever ends up coming in at 5, 6, and 7 of those races. Not with the AFC North so competitive, the teams in the East, the teams in the West. I don't think that's going to happen. But you might be able to back your way into a bad division. And the AFC South looks like it could certainly be a bad division. The Titans have yet to win. The Colts are 2-2, but I don't think that they're a real threat. This is what Houston has coming up. They host the Bills. They go to the Patriots. They go to the Packers. They host the Colts. They go to the Jets. They host the Lions. They go to the Cowboys. And their next 7 games, they could easily go 2-5, in my opinion. And they still have games with the Chiefs and the Ravens down the road. So while the Jaguars absolutely look miserable right now at 0-4, if they can ever find some success, if they can beat the Colts on Sunday to get to 1-4, I don't think it's going to take 10 games, 10 wins or more to win this division. So if you're looking for something to maybe take heart in, I think it's the fact that I think the Texans, you could look up in 7 games, and the Texans are a 5-win club.
It'll be interesting to see, no question about it. Hey, JJ, where have we been today?
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
A lot of Jaguars talk. Hays and I talked about what we think went wrong. Hays is concerned mostly about the Trevor misses. I'm concerned really about the interior of the lines and the fact they still have trouble on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. I think it's the biggest concern of the football team for me. Bucky Brooks checked in, said he just thinks Trevor needs to calm down, relax.
I definitely need to relax.
You do need to calm down. Yeah, when you play
he was
free,
right about that.
When you play free and easy, look out. I've always said that. So Trevor and Hays need to play free and easy. He checked in and talked about that. We talked about FSU and what a difficult time the Noles are having these days, and a fantastic Bama-Georgia game as well. We'll get to some more stuff about Bama-Georgia. Other news we never even get to, the Big Ten and SEC are talking about scheduling together. Have you seen that? We'll certainly talk about what that means. I love that idea, by the way. So a lot of fun stuff coming up on the program. Sad note, Chris Christopherson died. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. 88 years old.
88 years old. And Chris Christopherson was known for so much. A country music star, great songwriter, actor from The Star is Born, and so many wonderful people. He did so much great stuff. For me, what'll always stand out is he's the guy that wrote Me and Bobby McGee. Of all the things, Me and Bobby McGee, which I think is one of the most soulful songs, if not the most soulful song of the rock era. I mean, now Janis Joplin singing it.
Yeah.
But I think Janis Joplin singing Me and Bobby McGee might be the most soulful song. I mean, just right from your gut of the rock era. I think it's that amazing a song. I really do. So, and Chris Christopherson, did you know he wrote it?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he wrote Me and Bobby McGee. So fantastic.
I did know he was in Blade and did a great job in that movie.
He was in Blade.
Yeah,
he was
with Wesley Snipes many years ago.
Yes, he was. So Chris Christopherson dead at the age of 88. We haven't talked Florida UCF. We'll get to that as the week goes on.
But before we get there, what do you think? What is your opinion of Houston? They've got 40 penalties.
Yeah.
They've played 4 games.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans have 40 penalties for 326 yards.
I thought what you said earlier. There's a sloppiness to them. They're also not what people thought they'd be, but what your record says you are, and their record says they're 3-1. So they may be a team. I see them a little differently. I think they're going to find it. I think Joe Mixon makes them way better. They didn't have him. They didn't have Tank Dell. I think when they have Tank Dell and Joe Mixon, you're going to see a different team. They're not going to keep committing these penalties. I think they're going to go on a little bit of a run. I think they're going to get to 11 wins, 10 or 11 wins. So I think, and they're already 3. They already got 3 of them. So I think they're going to beat the Titans twice. They're going to beat the Colts again. They come here to play the Jags. So.
They get the Dolphins without Tua.
Yeah, so I think they're.
Well, that may not be. That game's way down the line.
Yeah, but
that's true. I guess I just penciled in Tua out for the year, but you're right.
Yeah, they don't play Miami till December 15th.
But I actually think Houston's pretty good. I think Houston will be better than they. But to your point, they weren't very good yesterday, and they still won the game. I think that's where you're going with this. So we'll see. I think they're. My take on the Jags, Hayes, is win one more game. Just win one game. Just I at least for me, just win a game. You just win.
And they're going to.
Yeah, they're going to.
They're not going to go 0-17.
That's right.
The Jaguars are going to at some point, and hopefully it's Sunday to honor Tom Coughlin as he goes into the Pride.
And then if you win a game, I'll say when you get to London, just right now, this team we talk about all the time. When a basketball shooter, a 3-point shooter keeps missing, the coach says go shoot some layups. Because you need to see the ball go through the hoop.
I couldn't imagine them not winning both those games overseas.
Well, that's what you would think. So
those teams are terrible.
So if you win and then go win those 2 games, if you're 3-4, you're in it. To your point, if Houston tumbles at all, so we'll see what winds up happening. Quick thought before we get out of here. We'll talk more about Florida UCF tomorrow, but can you imagine? I mean, UCF got gutted by Colorado.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that.
I watched a little bit of that, and UCF real careless with the football.
Yeah, I watched a lot of it.
Their defense sucks.
Yeah, Colorado really took it to them. So, but what a gigantic game for Billy Napier, because Kentucky's good, by the way. I thought maybe Kentucky they're not beating Kentucky.
No.
Okay. So they're not going to be. So
Vandergriff, I actually was impressed with.
Really impressed. So this might be their last. I say big game for Billy Napier. Because they fired, you fired. If they don't win this game, I'm not sure they win again until maybe Florida State.
I
mean,
totally agree with that.
I mean, I've looked at their. I mean, if they don't win now, they showed a little something against Mississippi State, who hung around with Texas for a while there, but if they do win this game, okay, then they're 3-2, and they're going to lose at Tennessee, I guess. But I don't.
Did you see that's a night game?
No, I did not see that.
They announced today that's a 7 o'clock kick on
As if you didn't
SEC
already
Network.
have a chance.
It's not hard enough already. Let's
Right.
go play. Let's go play Tennessee at night. By the way,
At least it's on SEC Network.
Well, here's the
when you lose by 65.
That's sad that Florida, Tennessee. I don't care how down Florida, Tennessee or Florida
It's
is.
been that way for
shouldn't
20
be a
years.
SEC Network
well,
game.
as I've said many times, Florida, since they started playing every year in 1990, okay, Florida and Tennessee. You know what the record is off the top of your head?
Florida.
It's 34 games. I'll tell you, it's 34
Oh, it's 34 games?
They started playing every year in 1990.
In
those
90. 34 games.
29-5.
I'll say 31-3.
Yeah, 26-8. So Florida's 26-8 against them. Okay, Spurrier was 8-4.
Okay.
And they thought, now Spurrier's gone. Well, they're 18-4 since Spurrier. Did you realize that? Florida has beaten Tennessee 18 of the 22 times since Spurrier was the coach there. And so they've beaten them so many times, so many ways. Can you imagine the points Tennessee's going to hang on them? Oh. Tennessee kicked an onside kick against Kent State up 30-0. I got a buddy, my buddy Chuck, who may be listening now, diehard Tennessee fan. Diehard Tennessee fan. I mean, he is a die-in-the-wall. He's waited and waited. He used to run the Tennessee Booster Club here. He went to Tennessee. So there, he and his wife and another couple or two are going to be in London with us. When we're in London, we're going to spend some time together. So that game's while we're in London. So my buddy Chuck goes, "Hey, man, we got to go find Florida, Tennessee. They got to be showing it somewhere." I said, "I have no interest in going to find Florida, Tennessee." Right. And now I love now that it's
midnight.
Now that it's a 7 o'clock kick, it's midnight. I will be sleeping like a baby.
Yeah.
Okay. When Tennessee goes up 38-3 mid-second quarter, okay, I will be fast asleep, not bothered at all. Not bothered. But anyway, UCF Florida is a major game.
Without a doubt.
How did that happen? What should happen, sorry UCF fans, but when Florida plays UCF's better than they were. It should be 41-17. And now it might be the other way. We'll see. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. That'll do it for our program. High school football coming up tonight on the station. We're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.